A sip of the caffeine, yeah? Hi. Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Ryan, and if you are into mobile and gaming tech, guess what? You're in the right place. Do me a favor, that little red button that says subscribe right in the middle, just give that a click. And at the end of the video, if you've enjoyed what you watched, hit that thumbs up because it does let me know that you're into this kind of content. About 3 months ago, we were blessed by the fruit gods. I am kidding. I am not that much of a sheep, but the fact of the matter is still there that we ended up getting ourselves the entire iPhone 13 lineup. Now, if you haven't been following me for a while and you're brand new around these parts, you need to know that I chronicled my journey through these devices. Oh, okay, so I started with an iPhone 13 Pro. I did an unboxing and I did impressions. In those impressions, I stated that I absolutely really liked the size and the feel of the phone, and I had high hopes for the battery, and it turned out that I think I got myself a dud battery, unfortunately. So, battery life being super important to me, I moved myself over to an iPhone 13 Pro Max for my daily driver, and so far, I haven't looked back. So I've been using this phone for nearly 3 months, and I felt that it was a good opportunity for me to actually give you guys an idea of how this phone really does function. Now, this video shouldn't be super long. I just wanted to give you a bit of a touch point on how I do actually feel about this phone as a daily driver. The first things first is that using the phone is no different than what you would have expected in terms of, let's say, like an iPhone 12 Pro Max, to be specific. One thing that I did note is that this phone is heavier than the 12 Pro Max. I recently had an opportunity to hold on to a 12 Pro Max again, and now that I'm calibrated for the 13 Pro Max, I'm actually noticing just how much heavier this phone is, and a lot of that weight is in fact in the top of the phone for obvious reason. We have that big chonky monkey of a camera, but there's a reason behind that. This camera takes absolutely phenomenal photos, like really good. They've implemented this way of putting like a filter or something over the photo before you've actually taken the photo, and I've set mine to have like a higher contrast. I like to have that kind of color pop. I like to have that lighting and all of that, but it definitely does not take away from how crisp, how clear, and just how clean these photos really do come out. Since I already talked about it, the battery life on this phone is unreal. Like, it is just, you can't kill the fucking thing, honestly. You really can't. So I'll give you an idea of my day in the life, okay? I wake up around 6 a.m., give or take. I typically go to the gym around 6:30. I'll work my regular 9 to 5. I come home, I have dinner, and I go to bed around anywhere between 9 to 10 on the average. Throughout my day, I'm using my phone a lot. I'm using music at the gym, using various apps when I am at my 9 to 5, just to make sure that the day goes as smoothly as possible. There are chat apps, there are emails, I need to take photos, I need to fill out documents, I have to do all of this stuff. And then when I come home, I'm usually puttering around on social media. I'm checking all of my YouTube analytics and responding to the comments that you guys leave below, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then when it comes time for me to go to bed, I haven't been able to get this phone to go below, I need caffeine. I have not been able to get this phone to go below 50% yet. I need you to let that sink in. That's a lot. Little side tangent here, rather a side note, if you will. In about a week, I'm going to have an iPhone 13 mini that I'm going to be able to talk to you guys about, because I have one coming and I'm going to be trying it out. Now, because I'm not a huge content creator on YouTube, I did have to spend my own money in an effort to get this one, but I did cover the iPhone 12 mini and I absolutely loved that phone. If you recall, the only issue that I had with that one was in fact the battery. And then some of you have asked me to cover the iPhone 13 mini. As a matter of fact, I did have a Twitter poll in which a lot of you were like, yeah, we want, well, at least some of you anyway. I don't have a lot of engagement on Twitter, but some of you were like, yeah, we absolutely want you to cover the iPhone 13 mini. So I decided to bite the bullet and I grabbed one. So in an effort to help me out with that, hitting that subscribe button does me a huge favor. It lets me know that I'm not doing this for absolutely no reason. Thank you. You're the real MVP. The processor on this iPhone, I don't really need to talk too much about. It's the A15 Bionic. We already know that Apple processors are super reliable, super speedy. And one thing I did want to point out is the fact that Though some older phones might have a bit of an issue with overheating in the processor area when it's being taxed, I have not once had that problem with the 13 Pro Max. Now, your use case, if you are in fact watching this on any of the iPhone 13 lineup, you might be having that issue. Doesn't necessarily mean that the problems that I have not incurred, you wouldn't. But my experience so far is that this phone has been fairly reliable on that front. Where it has not been reliable is something that has been recently discussed, is that the software behind this phone, specifically iOS 15, is broken. Now, I have talked about this before. I've talked about this with other devices, previous devices. Even I think the iPhone 12 mini, I was saying maybe some of the battery issues could have been iOS 15. I was using the beta on it at the time. I mean, it was my own fault. Betas are known to do that sort of thing, but I digress. The fact of the matter is that now that I'm using an iPhone 13 Pro Max with a public release of iOS 15, I shouldn't be running into the random glitches that I'm running into. On Twitter, I was recently discussing how my phone will frequently say, "Ryan, you forgot your AirPods behind." Meanwhile, I look down and they're in my pocket. And that's super annoying. As a matter of fact, we are on a Sunday today as I'm recording this. Literally Monday through Friday this week that just passed, I had that notification every single day when I was leaving work. I'm not overly sure where the quality assurance is behind this, but this isn't the only issue that I'm having. I'm having this issue where Do Not Disturb will randomly turn itself on, even though I've looked and it's really only scheduled for 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. the following day. I have had issues where the keyboard will just straight up refuse to either show up on the screen or disappear. Really super annoying. And then over the last couple of days, I've had this issue where messages will just force crash. Just all of a sudden, shut itself off. That's it, clocking out for the day, goodbye. And I don't really understand why. I was having an issue that seemed to stop where if I swiped over into what we would consider, I guess, to be the app drawer, your app list, is that it would show up, but in a ghosted fashion over top of the rest of my home screen. So at any given time, I had like 100 apps just shown on one particular screen. And that, to me, I'm like, something's wrong here. If somebody from Apple is watching this, you guys really, really need to start working on your quality assurance. I'm going to remind you that Steve Jobs himself stated that these devices are merely packages that are going to help deliver the software. And now it seems that's been flipped on its head. We seem to be a little bit more obsessed with the hardware, and then the software is taking a back seat. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, so I want to back up. Let me know what you think of the iPhone 13 lineup. First and foremost, do you have one of them? And number two, which one? And number three, have you had any issues with it, or are you just totally in love? Let me know in the comments. As mentioned, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. And if you're really into this type of content, hitting that subscribe button does me an absolutely huge favor. All right, you take care, and I'll see you in the next one.